Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's time for coffee and conversations with Melissa. What time is it today? It's 8 a.m. So, I'm so happy and so excited to present to you, and I'm very sure you are going to learn a lot from this awesome, my awesome personal, awesome lawyer that really takes care of me for a very long time. First of all, I would like to tell you something more about her. Toni Moore is one of 8 girls who dreamt of living her own versions of happily ever after. Throughout her traumatized childhood and tumultuous teenage years, Toni pushed herself to play a bigger game in life. After taking the leap of faith to go from the projects to attend the University of Pennsylvania, she went to law school and thereafter started flexing her brilliance in courtrooms, boardrooms, and classrooms. For more than 20 years, Toni has been advocating in the courtroom using her strategic mind to empower leaders to use law to protect their assets, creating asset protection strategy to help CEOs protect their intellectual property, and writing books to encourage others to up level into full potential. If you spend more than 5 minutes with Tony, you will discover she is very passionate about helping others fully appreciate that they have the power to live, love, and leave a legacy of wealth by using business and law as tools. My Coffee Connect founding member business spotlight, Miss Toni Moore of Legally Chic.
Hello, my girlfriend. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here today.
Yes, I am excited too. And we are going to talk about LLC turning into your uh, life. What is that? Lifelong
Lifelong
currency.
currency.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness. Let's start all the awesome questions. What are my risks of getting sued as business a small owner?
One, I do want people to understand that business is a game, right?
Yes,
And there are risks, but there are rewards. And when you are doing the right thing and you're saying that, you know what, this is my vehicle that I'm going to use as a vehicle of wealth, then you do the right thing. You protect it. You are appreciating that, you know what, there's risk, there's rewards. And at the end of the day, you're serving people. And as you serve people, and you're protecting your lifelong currency through your LLC, it's not necessarily always about being sued. Because if you're doing the right thing, most people aren't sued. Most people
yeah,
are, you're doing the right thing, you have conversations, you have negotiations. It's always conversations and negotiations before litigation. But let's keep it real. People get sued. People get sued by their partners, they get
yeah,
sued by their friends and family, they get sued by their spouses if they go through a divorce. But we can't live
yes,
in the spirit of fear. We always have to live in the spirit of fabulosity.
yes. And then also, why is it important to keep business records?
Oh, it's very important to get business records because you could get audited. Like, you don't know the day or the hour when you're going to get audited. And when you're looking at your business as a vehicle that's going to give you lifelong currency, at the end of the day, you have to be mindful of the fact that if you ever get audited by the IRS, especially if, God forbid, if Biden has his way, guess what's going to happen is that if Biden has his way, what can end up happening is that, guess what? The banks are going to start keeping records. $600. So you need to
Yes,
keep track of where you got that money from and the records from. That's not a good thing. That's like awful with regards to it. And you
mm,
always have to be mindful of that. So you have to be mindful that, hey, I was doing the right thing. Hey, I'm not like a money launderer. You know what I mean? Hey, this transaction is really legit. So
yeah,
those records come into play to protect you, especially if you do like for the most part, you guys, I usually work with people who are probably like 3 to 5 years in. Like LegalZoom is not my competition because when you're
Yeah.
3 to 5 in, you're not just looking for a limited liability company records or an independent contractor clause. Now you're like, Tone, I got a JV partnership. Tone, I'm using this money as currency. Tony, I need to leverage some things. Tone, I need someone to help me with a limited partnership. But you always got to keep records because one, people forget. Well, they allege to
Yes.
forget. That let's say
Yes.
that they allege to forget because people only remember what they want to remember. But when you have your bank records and when you have your operating agreement records and when you have your partnership records, then it's less likely for someone to play that game, the paper game. Always remember, paper is your prophylactis that protects your assets. So you
Yeah.
need to keep your records. And then legally speaking, governing records have to keep for the lifetime of your company. And then transactional records, technically, y'all, you have to keep them for 6 years. That's just the rule of the game.
Yeah, I am very, yeah, that what is very very important. I have like yeah, binding books for that, for the records, for
Yes.
taxes, for this. Yes, that is
Mhm.
very important. So we talk about what of getting sued as a business owner. What happens if someone gets sued?
Hell, you're gonna have to get a lawyer. Like
Yes.
if period. But I don't work with the someones, right?
Yes.
Oftentimes, if people will get sued when they're in business, their company is going to get sued. And most business owners who bifurcate legal from business, because people do that. They're like, oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to deal with the legal stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
when they bifurcate it and then something happens, and then they think that because they were doing ad hoc lawyering themselves or picking up pieces of paper, when their business gets sued, newsflash, a regular person cannot represent their business. If
Oh
you're not a
no.
lawyer, you cannot represent your business. And if you
Yeah.
didn't handle business legally, it's going to be very messy for any attorney to defend any actions because remember paper is prophylactics, but if you didn't seek wise counsel prior to the issue, it's almost like you trying to save your tooth from a root canal but you
Mm.
didn't floss in 5 years.
Oh my God. Oh, that's horrible. Oh, okay. Um, can can someone use personal assets running their business?
A lot of people use personal assets running their business, a lot of people, but I would suggest that you treat your business like a business. And if you're going to use personal assets, write an agreement, even if it's to yourself, because now you're either donating or you're selling the personal assets for your business. Or if you're borrowing as an individual because you don't have good credit and you really wasn't able to do the business credit game, with regards to getting, various business credit cards to help you fund, then you just make sure that you, the person, negotiates with you, the CEO of your business. You have to just keep it at arm's length transaction and pretend like literally, even though it's you just pretend like it's another person and you negotiate and you say, hey, I'm going to borrow this money and I'm going to loan it to you, the business CEO, and you set terms and you set conditions. You don't, even if you put a interest rate, you can always waive the interest rate. But as long as you treat your business like a business, it will pretty much hold sound because I spent over 15 years doing business fraud compliance at the federal level. And I promise you, the people who have the paper, the people who operate the procedures, the people who respect the rules and regulations, they tend to already be okay. It's the
Yeah.
people who just think, oh, I could do whatever I want because some business guru said I could start a business, but they're not treating it like lifetime currency. They're just treating it as an asset to get their money gasms and to be in and out.
Mhm.
And then that's where the problem lies.
Well, wow. See, ladies and gentlemen, we're learning a lot more with Tony. He is one of my favorite guests in my coffin conversations with Melissa because you can learn a lot of things from her. So it's about the company. If there is an investor, what should we consider before taking investors?
Well, definitely with regards to it, Once again, paper is prophylactics. Once again, bulletproof your profits with a contract, right? And when you're
Yes.
taking on investors, don't just be so quick to the bands. Don't dance, just dance for the bands. You got to ask yourself, what is this person going to bring to the company? Ask yourself, are they going to bring in sweat equity? Are they going to bring in talent? Are they going to bring in other strategic partners? Because you, as the business CEO, your primary reason for being is because you know that you have the solutions to service other people. So when
Yeah.
you're bringing other people in, please, 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 just think about it. But like, this is my business, this is my lifelong currency. Do I want someone else to make decisions? Do I want someone else to get a loan? Do I want someone else to bring in their network of people? Do I like their energy? Do I like their flow? Do I like how they do their business with money? And then you always have to have a conversation. Once again, conversations and negotiations pretty much limit litigation. So you got to be like, and how are we going to get paid? Because usually
Yes.
the problem resides where the money conversations don't go, and most people don't have those conversations. Some people
Mhm.
want to make the money and spend the money. Some people want to make the money and then hold the money and put it in like three different accounts, one for themselves, one for the taxes, and one for operations. That's good, that's a
Mhm.
writer downer.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with someone who is just about the money gasms and not about creating lifelong currency, it's going to be a
Yes.
problem. So you need to have those conversations. Think of it like a business nuptial. Like the past 2 years, I've been helping people like pretty much dissolve their business without the litigation. But there are some people, they're just so deep into it because they never had a conversation. They just had an expectation. That's almost like getting married, having expectations that someone is going to give you money gasms for life so you can live wealthier ever after, and you don't do the work, or you do all of the work and no one is helping you. That's very frustrating.
Yeah. Hello, hello, hello. We have a guest here, Bongai, and she is in Zimbabwe right now. Hello, Bongai. Hello, ladies. Great to see you both. Great to see you too here, Bongai. Thank you for watching us. And for those people who are watching, you can ask questions and give a comment here so we can Tony can answer your questions. So let's continue about these awesome topics to turn your LLC to long life currency. So, what qualities make a company good work for?
Well, that really depends on whether or not someone is really operating in a business as a business. So it's all about the energy of the people. It's always about the environment of the company. And
Yes,
it's always about the pretty much the respect of the CEOs. Because if CEOs just see you as a widget, it's going to be a problem, right?
yes,
And then sometimes when you have a younger CEO, a startup CEO. Sometimes they want to treat their contractors like employees, but one, that's
yeah,
unlawful. You know what I mean? So if you need someone to do 40 hours and you need someone to be under your thumb, you're going to have to get an employee. You're going to have to set up appreciate the labor laws of your state. You're also going to have to get some workers' compensation, and you're going to have to get some unemployment, because otherwise it's going to be a problem.
yeah,
So, one, if you're thinking about working with a startup, sometimes startups will give you sweat equity. If they're trying to give you less than 5%, 10%, you walk away. Because when I see people, they're like, oh, I want to do, a shareholder sweat equity subscription agreement, and I want 2%. I'm like, what is that? You know what I mean? That's like giving a
yes,
well a tic tac. That's bullcrap.
yes,
So you get one conversation away. So have a conversation, see where their mind is. Like, people are always like, interview a lawyer. Hell, we lawyers are interviewing you. And the minute someone says Legal Zoom or Rocket Lawyer, you already told me that you're not my client.
mm, yeah. Thank you for awesome question answers for our awesome questions. So, more questions. How can I protect the name of my business?
The only way that you can protect the name of your business at a national level is to file a federal trademark application. Now, it's a process. I have clients from nationwide, and they file an application, and 3 minutes later, they're like, I didn't hear anything. I'm like, It takes about 10 months to a year. And sometimes it takes longer when we're litigating and trying to convince an examiner that your name should be yours. So I
Yes.
tell people the process is the process. Respect the process. When you're
Yes.
working with a lawyer, they're going to monitor your application because we're representing and we're real lawyers, right? But if you're on your own, it becomes like a battlefield because you're going to get an examiner's notice that is legal. It's going to Lawyers talk legalese, and they don't break it down just because you don't have a lawyer. So when
Mm.
you're saying I have my business name, only when your business name becomes a national brand, that's when you protect it. But if it was like Legally Chic, that's a brand. It's
Yes.
also a name of a business. But if it was the law office of Toni Moore, you know what I mean? Always
Yes.
remember that if it's too common, if it's too generic, if it's too, descriptive, it's not something that is some trademarkable. Trade When you're trademarking something, you want to be a distinguishing factor, and you want a name that people be like, oh my God, that's a hot name. You know what I mean? I
Yes.
want to steal it. And you be like, no, no, no. Because that
No.
registration gives you the power to restrict other people from replicating without a what contract. It's almost like all things lead to a contract. When you're in business, it's a contract, and if you're a business entrepreneur, then I need you to understand that contracts are negotiable. They start out as templates, but they're negotiable. I have a
Mhm.
template that says name and says general, but all the stuff in between with regards to fees and promises, with regards to duration, with regards to state, with regards to what you're promising from it. I'm working on one. We got co-creators transcripts. I'm working on another. We got business partnership agreements. We're working on another, and it's a license and distribution for a trademark. They're all different. I need somebody needs to know that. You know what I mean? It's not
Yes.
just one contract. Someone said recently, Toni, I set up my LLC, I got my EIN, and I got my contract. I'm good. I don't need a lawyer. Okay.
Oh no.
But and I was just
No.
like, well, I'm working on a deal right now, and there's 10 different contracts.
And here's the thing, like before I signed contract, I always let Tony Moore knows about the contracts because it's better to pay now than be sorry later because it's a lot of money.
Oop,
You really have before you sign a contract, have the lawyer check it for you because you will be,
right.
safe for that.
Right, right. Because especially when you are co creating something, a
Yes,
business, co-creating a joint venture where you're bringing in your talents, your wisdom, your strategies, working with someone else.
yes,
Really, you should be the one who wants to draft the contract, even if you
yes.
have to pay an attorney, because the person who drafts controls.
And let me tell you guys, we are good friends with Tony, but I never do like, hey, we're friends, it's free. No, 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 no. You have to pay the people. Not because you're friends, you don't pay. You just have to, that's how you support each other. So
Yeah.
I love Tony because she's really, really like, I never feel stupid with her because I can ask questions. This is kind of stupid question, but can I do this? Something like that. He always stop me. That's not stupid,
It's
And,
never a
you
stupid
know,
question. If you
yes,
end up with someone who is a business partner, a business lawyer, even with regards to a coach, and they feel make you feel stupid, they're not for you, because you are the CEO. You're the
yeah,
chief executive officer of
yes,
that business, and you need to know. Now, some of my clients, they ask a little too many questions, and I'll put them in the Legally Chic Academy because they obviously don't know the business of the business. Because why pay an attorney for per hour to teach you something that you pay them to do? But if you want to know, like some people are like, oh, I just want to know. I'm like, okay, it's always better to just learn in a class, or having a class, a training, as opposed to getting an attorney who's going to charge you by the hour to teach you. So your questions are never virginal questions. It's not
yeah,
like business virgin. Tony, what's your contract? Tony, what's this? What's that? It's like, look, Tone, I'm about to do this investment. Tone, I'm about to do this partnership arrangement. Tone, should I do this? So because you're at a different level, those are conversations, CEO conversations, because you have a vision, you have a goal, and this is your, this is what you're doing, because you turn your LLC into lifelong currency, whether you
Mm-hmm.
keep it for a lifetime or sell it and then take the proceeds and put it into an annuity, it's still
Mm-hmm.
lifelong currency. Even if you turn it around and say, you know what, I'm going to make my LLC lifelong currency by making my trust a member of the board of the limited liability company. Now it's still lifelong currency. It's just different ways of appreciating that you created one time and you can monetize for a lifetime.
Wow, that's a cool one. See, guys, you're learning a lot from Tony. This is just a conversation. You earn a lot. What more if you hire her? You know. So, what happens if my business grows rapidly or tanks suddenly?
Mm. Well, there's cycles of business, right?
Yeah.
So if it grows rapidly, especially if you're on a podcast and all of a sudden everybody wants to go viral, but I don't want the viral to become a virus to your business because you wasn't prepared. So you
Yeah.
always have to be prepared for it. I always say, you know what, prepare for the show, prepare for the glow up, So if it grows virally, you want that to happen anyway. You want people to like, you trust you, hire you. And
Mhm.
so you always have that back end. You always should have the structures in place anyway. You should have,
Yeah.
systems in place anyway. How do you respond to the systems? Who do you help with the systems? And even with regards to if you're thinking about a big launch, you should have like things in place. Who's going to be your manufacturer? What's going to be the turnaround? And if you can get business credit, you prepare for the blow up. Just
Yeah.
always pretend like you're going to blow up one day. You're like one transaction away from a blow up, right? Now if
Yes.
it takes, there is no such thing as a suddenly. None,
Yes.
because like if you got your eyes on the finances, if you got your ears to the social media, you already know what people are liking, loving, talking, like for instance, remember when there was see, I almost forgot the name, but Blockbuster, remember Blockbuster and
Yes. Yes.
Netflix, they tanked, but it wasn't suddenly. They saw what was happening. But instead of getting on the tides and saying, well, they could do it, I could do it, they said, no, people really want to come to the store, pick through the leftover
Yes.
DVDs and make it a day, or wait hours on
Yes.
end calling, seeing if they saw the tide. They saw the newcomers. They heard the conversations, but they ignored it. So that suddenly stuff, that's not a suddenly. Not when you're a CEO and you realize that this is the vehicle, your business is the wealth building vehicle.
Yes.
So you always got to know what with regards to um always have to know what the political conversations are going to be,
Yeah.
what the conversations of your community are, price structuring, what are they looking for? Keep your eyes on the prize of like serving people, but also on the prize of not being bankrupt when, throughout the in between.
Yeah, you're totally right for that. How do we make sure my business is compliant?
Well, the best way to do it is you can always have legal checkups, with regards to it. There's some CPAs that expand. They're not lawyers, but there are some lawyers who are also CPAs. And it's just literally from the, business records compliance, tax procedure compliance, compliant with regards to the rules and regulations when you're hiring people compliant. You have to really be compliant if you're serving people with regards to your proprietary blend and your exfoliants or your lotions, the FDA compliant. There's so many rules and regulators. After a certain point, you have to be the CEO and you're going to have to outsource the legal compliance to lawyers. That's what the big companies do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in the beginning, you're always going to be like, is this compliant? Is this not? And you're going to be like shooting blanks in the dark and hoping and praying that you don't end up on a bad side of the law. But once you get to a certain point, you're going to have to start doing what I had to do. I had to start hiring people. Like, we don't
Yep.
have to be the jack of all trades or the Jill of all things.
Yep.
We are being very structured in creating a business. And that's where you're like, okay, know what you know, and then delegate throughout the in between. Because when you're dealing with the rules and regulators, it's always about what the money resides. It's always about, do you have paper records to substantiate? If you're a limited liability company, it's less formal than if you are a corporation. But when you're a corporation, please, 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 at least do the basics.
Yeah.
Have your corporate book. Please, please, please have your meetings, even if it's, God forbid, once a year. But you need to have proof that you're playing by the rules. The
Yeah.
business is a game. The same way football is a game, same way basketball and tennis are a game. You can't go to a basketball court trying to play football
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
expect to win. So you just have to know the rules. And then when you're like, yo, this is beyond my reach, all I'm trying to do is serve and make money and expand the brand, then you're going to have to delegate to legal. You just outsource it, hire a law firm or a lawyer to help you with the stuff that you don't know.
So to top it all, everything we do is for our family. So how do we plan ahead for our family?
Well, who said it best? You always just keep the end in mind. What's
Yeah.
the end? The end
Mm-hmm.
is lifelong currency for yourself, as
Mm-hmm.
when to retire richer, for your children, because we brought them into the world. We can't leave them piss poor broke. And like for your community. So the best way to do it is to keep the end in mind, have some number in place. I used to serve as a financial planner. So we used to always ask, how much do you want to retire with? I'm just like, how much do you want in your bank account? How much do you want in your
Yeah.
wealthier ever after account? Because this is your lifelong currency money train. So how much do you need so that you can just live your best life, you know, at in your 40s, in your 50s, in your 60s, in your 70s and beyond. And not just live your best life, but also to have that lifelong currency so that you can set something aside for your children, for your grandchildren, and maybe for your community. So that's how you always keep the end in mind. I always tell people to at least start with $500,000,
Yeah.
because you have the tax benefits as a business owner in your favor. You really do. And you can set up a retirement plan, whether it's a SAP or a solo 401k, which I love. You know what I mean? You're putting the money aside and you're deducting from your receipts, and your revenue. So I want you to think about, always keep the end in mind when you are growing your business, when you're building your business. And at the end of the day, you do want a richer retirement, even if it's at 50 or at 60 or 70. You want a richer retirement and you want lifelong currency, so that you're
Yes.
not eating cat food when it's all said and done.
This is awesome, Tony. Oh my goodness. It's already 30 minutes, almost 30 minutes. So I hope you've learned a lot from this. And for those people who just watch replay, give comment replay. And then if you have any questions, you can, where can they connect with you, contact you if they want your services, Tony?
Absolutely. So you can always find me at Toni Moore ESQ, Toni Moore ESQ, and that's like, you can find like Protect Your Empire free guide, and you can find my calendar, and then you can also follow me on social media at Toni Moore ESQ, Facebook at Toni Moore ESQ, Cash App at Toni Moore ESQ.
Yeah, and LinkedIn too. Yes.
Yes, and
Awesome.
LinkedIn. Yeah.
Awesome. So we get to know a little bit more about Tony. So Tony, share us your experience at My Coffee Connect. He's a founding member of Coffee Connect. Do you experience the joy of networking?
Yes, absolutely. The joy of networking. I tell Melissa all the time that she needs to do a class called The Joy of Networking, because I am just a more like a behind the scenes person, unless my client really wants me to do something and I have to make them boss up. So Melissa is always like, come. And I'd be like sitting in my corner and she'd be like, no, speak, talk, introduce, So I did meet a financial planner, and I got a chance to meet a couple of members who have different businesses, and I met a couple of business partners, well, not partners, but collaborating partners,
Yes.
because when my clients come in with this business startup, they need certain things like insurance, and they need certain things like retirement planning, and they need certain things like social media and things of that nature. So for me, now I'm realizing it is a joy in networking, because I'm connect working with people, and I like the My Coffee Connect because it also, you have training, like that's different. Most people are like network, 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 but it's always good to have training
Mhm.
with regards to how to network with people, how to
Yes.
build your business better, with regards to it. So that's really what that's the joy of My Coffee Connect, the joy of networking.
Yes, awesome. And then if you want to know more about her, she is the business spotlight tonight at 7 p.m. at My Coffee Connect. If you want to be our guest, email me at info@wibsn.com, or message me in all my social media. Like and follow us in Facebook, Coffee and Conversations with Melissa, and follow me in YouTube, Coffee and Conversations with Melissa. And you can like my Coffee Connect too, because that's my organization for men and women in business. So, what are the last things that you can say before we leave, Tony?
Yes. Well, the main thing that I want people to understand is that your business is a vehicle that you can use to build wealth through entrepreneurship. Period. So it's not.
Yes,
So it's always good to know the vehicle, like the ins and outs of how to make your business grow, how to protect your assets, how to protect your name, because that's your distinguishing factor. And also
yes,
remember that your LLC, treat your LLC as lifelong currency, so it can bloom, it can blossom, it can grow, it can expand, and then it always will give you that reasonableness of that cash flow. Like you always want the abundance of the cash flow. So that's what I want people to understand. It's not mutual funds, it's not insurance policy, it's your
mm-hmm.
business.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm really serious about it. See, I am writing down all the things that I can teach. I'm really like putting it all together, and I am excited. I cannot believe I'm going to teach. There's nothing in my entire mind I'm going to teach, but uh, here's the thing with Tony. He is just not my lawyer. She believes in me, and then she keeps on pushing me, pushing me. That's good. So it sometimes it's like I'm shaking on what she's telling me. Like, I can do that, something like that. So if you're looking for a lawyer, especially if you want to do trademark, something to protect your business, Tony is one of the best lawyer that I've ever met. We always go. She is, I think she is one of the lawyer that is really sassy, you know, like, because usually the lawyers like, blazer, always blazer corporate. With her, oh my God, fabulous lipsticks, fabulous hair, fabulous eyeglasses. I like this lawyer, and this is not just beauty and brain. So the I really, really recommend Tony, if you need any business protections, you really have to talk to Tony.
Thank you, Miss Melissa.
Yes. Okay, don't go out yet, but we're going to say goodbye for our live stream. Thank you so much. And tonight, my business spotlight is Ave Marie. She's going to be a business spotlight next week. So she's going to talk about T101 at 8 p.m. tonight. So if you want to know more about teas, so tune in with us tonight at 8 p.m. Have a good one, everybody. Goodbye. See you later.